you think it's safe to just put in the market around 1 year?
No. Anytime we're talking stocks, I'm thinking 10 plus years. Downturn happens, now it's like the 6-7 year range before you're even back to where you wanted to be.
Do you think it's safe to just put in the market and wait until...
So when you say...
when I say safe, I'm saying around 1 year.
No. If you're saying 1 year, no, I would not invest in the stock market for 1 year because we don't know what's going to happen. Anytime we're talking stocks, I'm thinking 10 plus years. Some people say 5. Some people say 5. I think it's more like 10 because you never know in 3 years, if we have a downturn, it might take 2+ years to recover, putting us into that 6-7 year range. Or if in 4 years it happens, downturn happens, now it's like the 6-7 year range before you're even back to where you wanted to be. The money's not where you want it, when you want it. So if it's short term, I like high yield savings accounts and money markets. But for a longer term, for me, 10 years, for some people 5 years, but 10 years, that's where I would consider stocks for that long-term investment.
Anything below that period, I shouldn't consider it as an investment.
I wouldn't recommend for something shorter. Correct. Okay. Some people will, because here's the other thing. Say you're like, I'm not listening to that guy. I'm going to go put in the stock market. You might have a 20% return over the next 12 months. You might be like, I'm so glad I didn't listen to that guy. I just got a 20% return. But on the flip side, we could see a 20, 30, 40% drop in the next year, and now you're waiting for it to recover. The money's not there for you, right? So on the short-term basis, it's how much you can stomach. Because it is possible that a year from now, you'll be up significantly if you invest in stocks. It's just such a short-term time horizon that it's really hard to feel confident that, no, you'll be good, right? It's more scary. If you were to say in 10 years, yeah, I think you'd be good. If you invested in stocks right now and then weren't going to check on it again for 10 years, I feel you'd be up at that point. But in a shorter time frame, it's hard to know.
I see. So I better to keep the cash if I have plans
for short term.
For short term.
Yeah. High yield savings accounts or money markets, because even though those are like low risk, they provide more than a bank account.
Okay. So based on the history of the market, it's unlikely that I'm going to have a high profit within 1 year. Unlikely.
Okay. So even that, I would say, historically, 50, the market's 50? Been up. It might be better than that. Historically, the market is up 7 out of 10 days. Over the history of the market, it's up 7 out of 10 days. But we know the pandemic happened and we lost 20+%. We know the housing 08-09 crash dropped close to like 40% for some people. The problem is we don't know what's coming tomorrow. So it is...
I see your point.
Okay, it's not likely, or it's not...
It's 7 out of 10, you say?
Yes. So, but there are those other days happen.
It
right?
happened, yeah.
Yeah. So if it happens 6 months from now, you're gonna be like, man, that guy sold me up a river. You know. So that's where it's tough, and it can pay off because you'll see people who will do short-term investments into the stock market. They make 15-20%. They're happy. But then you see other people, they do the same thing. They invest in the stock market for short terms. We run into a downturn. Now they have to wait for it to come back up, and it stresses them out. The money's not there when they need it, and it would have been better for them to be in cash. So it's like, what stomach do you have, right? If you invest it for 1 year and it goes down, how are you going to feel? Can you wait for it to recover? But if you invest it in 1 year and it goes up, you'll be happy you did it, right? So it's kind of what your stomach and heart can handle.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I see your point, but when we talk about the pandemic and all these things, the market crashed, but the markets rebound.
Yes.
Again.
But they take time. That's the main thing. Like the 08 crash.
Actually, it's not only rebound. We got into inflation.
Way up. Way up. Yes. And that's how it is. So like the 08 crash, if you were 100% stock, it took about 2 years for you to get back, right? So you were at this level. 08 crash happens. It took until I think like 2011, 2012 to get back to where we were from the absolute bottom. To get back, it took about 2 years to get back to even. From there, we've been crazy high, right? So if you could stomach that downturn, hold it, not sell, and wait for the recovery, anybody who did that is happy now.
Okay, I see.
Right, but the people who bought it crashed, they panicked, they sold, they're not happy, right? Then that's really what you're trying to figure out. Are you the type of person who can stomach a downturn and wait for a potential subsequent recovery? Because I do have to say it may never recover, right? If it's the final crash, it's the final crash and it never recovers. But for the most part, I believe it will recover. As long as you have the stomach to wait, stocks generally return more over the long term. Right.
So that haze you were talking about, now the curve of that haze is up, right?
Over the long term, stocks are up.
I mean today.
Okay.
Is it up or like from its last cycle? Is that curve up or down now?
I don't know the specific answer to that, but if we're like guessing on what it's going to do moving forward, I believe it's going to go up. But that's the thing. We don't know like what news is going to come out tomorrow. We don't know what's going to come out 6 months from now, 1 year from now, right? Like that's where people have to do it. Normies didn't understand that 08 was going to happen. Regular people didn't know, and most even people in the industry didn't know that the pandemic crash was going to happen, right? In the long run, I'm very bullish on the stock market. I just feel less confident in a shorter time frame. That's really where it is. It's less confidence in the short term. In the long term, I'm very confident that if you invested today, 30 years from now, you're going to be super happy you did that. Will you be as happy? If you invested today, 6 months from now? I can't tell you because I don't know what's going to happen in the market. But I do believe that no matter what happens in the market, it will recover. And historically, it'll be up.
It just needs time.
Yes, time in the market is one of the most important things.
When I invest in the market, I should not thinking about taking out the money at least for the 5 years.
Correct.
Those money should be away from any other investment ideas that I have.
Yes. If you're investing in stocks, I would not think about the short term at all unless you could stomach that, right? Because you see people who will invest for the short term, but if it tanks in that short term, they're just not going to sell it. They're just going to let it sit, wait for the recovery, wait for it to come back up, and then they'll do something with that money, right? But from what you've told me, yeah, it makes sense to not invest in stocks for the short term unless you can wait.
That's the key point of that.
Yep. For your retirement, I feel very confident. For the next 6 months to a year, I feel less confident.
I see. So I don't have to act as a trader, but as an investor.
Yes. I love that. That might be the best phrase I've heard all weekend. Yes. Yeah. Think of yourself as an investor.
As an investor, not
a trader. Yeah. Most traders lose. Nobody talks about, or it's not talked about much, but most traders lose. Either their money goes down or they don't keep up with the market. Right? So invest in the overall stock market. That is, to me, a much better thing than trying to jump in out of individual companies. I'm Luke Halter, free advice guy. At 27 years old, I had $18,000 to my name. At 40, I retired from my corporate job a millionaire. I use tried and true principles to achieve financial freedom. I believe financial advice should be accessible to all. That's why I encourage you to join my free Patreon, where I'll teach you how to master your finances. When you join, you get access to our budgeting worksheet, and you can begin your journey to financial success. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. It helps get this video to the people who need it most. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.